Ryan, how we doing, man?
Doing good, man. How are you? What's going on?
Good, good. Well, it's good to finally see some green in the portfolio today.
Yes, sir. Let's pull up the good old Benzinga Pro. We got him on going on today. We had a good, decent day today on the markets. I was expecting red today. I'm not going to lie to you. I was expecting a lot of red. Uh, I've had this retracement down here to the. Can we get SPY on the screen?
I'm seeing. Let me see here. Maybe just stop sharing your screen and we'll do it again. I'll,
Sure.
I'll get it pulled up in the meantime in case it's not cooperating with you for whatever reason.
How about now? Is it popping up?
Oh, yep. All right, there we go.
Perfect. So I'm seeing here, I've been keeping my eye on this. We've talked about it on the stream a lot. Keeping my eye on this little gap here on SPY. And I was looking at the base off just straight MACD and RSI, just going back to old school regular technical analysis. I wasn't expecting green today in the market. I was expecting more of a retracement back to where we were on April 12th and then slowly retracing back to or at around this 400 to 403 area. So that's what I've been kind of trying to keep my eye on and make sure that I'm on top of that, because there's a lot that can happen here, and there's an opportunity for you to make money using the bear stocks and the bear ETFs and all those inverse QQQ stocks that are out there. So there's opportunity for you to make money with those if used properly, of course. But I'm keeping my eye on it. I'm really cautiously optimistic for what's going on today and into the coming days. So I'm keeping my eye there. And I'm really curious to see how this all plays out and takes into account. Let's look at QQQ to see where this goes. Just like always, it's been operating very in parallel to what SPY is doing, which is a little bit weird, but I guess they're operating in parallel now, which is fine. And then for our small caps, we got the Russell 2000, which of course did have a sort of a flat day. It sort of wiped out yesterday's losses. So it brought us back to where we were on the 19th, which is good. And that this upward trend in the RSI is a good sign. Volume was decent. But again, this is just a kind of an overall marker to understand where the stock market is going and where it's headed for small caps in the penny stock world. I do imagine we are due for another rally in the coming days to weeks for the penny stock market, just because of where SPY is headed, because I think we have to retrace down. We can't go straight up for a while. There's a lot going on in the market. So I think that we will retrace back and see money flow back here. We saw the SPAC market. If we look at SPAK, which is kind of like an ETF for SPACs, the SPAC market picked up today for the first time in a very long time of red. So we've been essentially in a massive downtrend in SPACs since the 19th, and we've seen everything kind of come down. Of course, not all SPACs are represented here in the SPAC ETF SPAK, but you can see here that they had a immersion of a big jump of about 4% today, which is nice. It wipes out these 2 days of losses and kind of starts giving you some signs of retracement. RSI is upward, which is a sign of confidence, in my opinion. MACD isn't there, but I think it's going to take a lot for SPACs to get there. I agree. One thing I keep hearing about, and I'm going to be putting out a video on my YouTube channel about this, is how a lot of these SPACs, the reason that they're getting their butts kicked is they were overvalued. There was these massive investor presentations that were out there. Sometimes some of them were even 80 to 90 to 100 slides. Like I remember the Lucid Motors CCIV presentation was about like 80 to 90 slides of just wildness. Now, not the CCIV one. Their projections were a little bit more tame than others. But sometimes you see SPACs with massive projections of like $1 billion in revenue or something ridiculous like that. So, of course, the market woke up and kind of gave them a spanking, and it creates an opportunity for those SPACs that you're merging with that are with good companies. So I'm just taking advantage of, just look at the companies, look at the balance sheets that you're provided, all the data you're given. Don't just go off the beautiful investor presentations they give you, and kind of look for SPACs that are worth it and SPACs that you like. Like I'll give you one that I really like. It's getting its butt beat is SSPK, which also operates in the cannabis sector. Here we go. We got a doji here, flat. Essentially, it's been flat for a while within this box because, of course, if we look here, where is it? There you go. The 19th, when all the SPACs started selling off. So this one is exciting for me because they're merging with weed naps, operates in the cannabis sector. So I like this one, and I'm holding on to it because to me, I think that this could be a sort of a Square style company. Of course, not at that valuation, not at that growth. But one interesting thing that these guys did versus most other SPACs is they gave us their previous 5 years of revenue and operating expenses, and essentially 5 years previous is balance sheet from 2015 till 2019, and then they gave us their projections moving forward. And I like it. I like where the cannabis industry is going. It's needed in the US because we need that tax revenue money. It's also why you see gambling jumping up. I'll go into that one next. So I think that SSPK will be a nice engine because what they do is essentially it's a business model in a box. You go to these guys. You go to Weed Maps, their subsidiary company, which is Weed Maps Holdings, and you say, "Hey, I want to open up a cannabis shop," and they give you this whole business and a model package of. They help you with the legislation. They help you with opening up your shop with the hardware needed because there's specific hardware needed. Bank accounts because those aren't easy when you're running a cannabis business, and they of course take a percentage of it. It's kind of like a sort of like a franchise model that operates with it. And with this chart, I mean, to me, it's you're back down to you've sort of retraced back to where we were in the beginning of January, which is essentially right before the massive run up. And this SPAC, when it announced, I've been in this SPAC for a while, since around the $10 range. I've always had a really good feeling about this one, but it jumped up to essentially around the $14, $15 area. So I think this is one of those that it's got a decently fair valuation. I think around 17, 18, 19 is good for this SPAC. And I do think it will eventually trace back to these 25, 26 levels because it's a very, very low float. It's an 18.6 million float SPAC. They've got a lot of good stuff. I do hope that they give us more news moving forward. And it's getting a lot of press these days. And cannabis is getting even more press. New York just legalized recreational. So you're going to see more shops popping up. In the gambling space, I'll take a look at Bets, which is essentially a gambling ETF. And you can see gambling stocks were up today as well. And gambling has been doing fantastic. So essentially, gambling has been rallying since last. This is a new one, but if you just retrace it from back last June until now, it's been essentially a straight line up with a little bit of dips here and there. Everything kind of shit the bed when we were during the elections. Of course, they were hit during the March too, but they recovered. They recovered fantastically and a lot quicker. And of course, it comes down, retraces back up, so you can kind of use the patterns to kind of swing where you're going. But just basing off of what's going on with gambling, you see that more and more states are opening up to it. Someone tweeted me, let me just see if I could find the tweet and read it. Someone tweeted me something about gambling, which was big in New York. New York is a state that has kind of their purse strings are tightened about what they do and what they don't want to do. You can see that reflected in the crypto space. There's very few applications that we can use to trade crypto or even earn interest on crypto and stake crypto. So you see that they're very, very tight on what's going on with what goes on with money in this state. So I'm trying to find that tweet real quick. It was very, very good news. So I want to share with you guys all too many notifications. That being said, as I'm scrolling through this, some names that I really like in gambling, which we'll talk about, one of them is Skills, which operates in kind of this the gaming aspect of it. I can't find the tweet. There's too much going on there. Skills had a fantastic day. This was one of those stocks that I would talk to my Patreon about. We've talked about it on this show before too. These guys were hit with short report after short report. Anyone with a Twitter account that wants to short a stock can apparently come out and put out a short report and create FUD, which is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So you saw the stock go from where we were here in the 40s. You saw the first short report come in and knock it down. And then you had all the craziness when March knock it down more. And then you had another short report knock it down all the way to a low of $12.45, which even if you just look at the balance sheet of this company, $12.45 is a gross undervaluation for this company about what they're doing, the tech behind it, their tech PE multiple, and all that stuff that goes into these tech companies that you need to take into account. So it's undervalued. So a lot of folks took advantage of this dip and bought and were handsomely kind of paid back. Today they had a 35% rally, 35.6% rally, which is fantastic. Will this rally continue into tomorrow? I don't know. I'm quite worried, to be honest with you, that today was a bit of a bull trap. I've been watching all the indicators that I've seen in previous bull traps. I haven't seen too many, which is good. It's consistent. There's nothing wild happening that's out of the ordinary, like Tesla going to 900 in like one fell swoop. So there's nothing really like that kind of scares me or bothers me. But this is good. Skills is one. Of course, we've got Penn National Gaming, which I think is a powerhouse. They've got Barstool Sports and the Dave Portnoy marketing engine and brand behind them. So this is another play that a lot of people talk about in terms of gambling, which I really like. I really like this play in this company. They're a little bit pricey right now. I do think that now that they've sort of broken, where are my moving average? I feel like there's something missing. I'm like, where are my moving averages? Moving averages triple, and then we got to edit it. I guess I must have over the weekend. I was playing around more with this. 21. So you guys are also getting a kind of a sneak preview of how our good old friend here, the Benzinga Pro Tool operates. So in case you want to sign up, you can hit me up and I'll give you guys like an affiliate link to help you sign up. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions. I know a lot of folks have questions about how this thing operates, and if they need help, more than happy to help you set up and understand it more and more. So here we go. We got our moving averages. So right now we're sort of dancing and using the 200 MA as support, where it's been essentially support since sometime mid last year. And if you parallel this with bets, you'll see that the uptrend is very parallel. So I want to see what happens here in this area. Today was a divergence, which is good. We had the big bump up. I was expecting this to come back down to the 200 moving average, which is around $78. Now, will we see a drop that heavy in Penn? I don't think so, unless something wild happens again like last time. But I do expect and would like this in the mid 80s to just kind of start dollar cost averaging into Penn. I had a position in Golden Nugget, which I cut because it was a very small position. B, I preferred DraftKings long term, which I dollar cost averaged more into DraftKings. But I want to open up a position into Penn because I really like Penn and what they're doing because of the Barstool brand. And of course, you have to pay more for these things because there's a bigger engine behind it. You'll see bigger names. They've got YouTubers, all these big folks advertising for them essentially for free. I imagine it's free when they're around. But parallel to this, we got DraftKings DKNG, which got a fantastic deal with the NFL in terms of gambling, and we will jump into other stocks and other stuff as we go through the program. But I just want to highlight on these two areas, which is cannabis and gambling, which are going to be really big for this coming year. And as you can see here, DraftKings had a very difficult day, broke this trend line. Not today, of course, the previous 2 days. We haven't seen each other since last week, the program, I mean. And you can see here it wants to go for a reversal. It's kind of fighting, and MACD's telling us reversals coming. RSI's stepped up. We had a nice 5.5% day, which is fantastic. After hours are a little bit hazy, but again, that's where I need to kind of see tomorrow to see if today was a bull trap to get people into the market and then slaughter tomorrow. So we'll definitely have to see how this operates. But again, very similar. The float is much higher here in DraftKings. So you might be saying, hey, why is Penn so much more expensive than DraftKings? Same question that I always get about Raya and Mart. Look at this float. This is a 325 float. So if you take the float and you multiply it by the price, you get what's called a market cap, which is the value of the company. So let's do some basic math right here. 325.260. I'm not even going to go into the millions. We're not going to go too crazy into the math. Times 58.43. That's about a 19,000 float, right? That's just because we're cutting out the zeros and cutting out the millions. 19,000 float. And then let's go to Penn, and I want to do the same thing. This is very important. These are things you have to know. It's not just about the charts. It's not just about the pretty stuff. I'm going to cut that so I remember it. So 142.554 times 92.3. So you'll see this is a 13,000 float essentially. So this has a much lower valued company. So Penn has more upside potential, in my personal opinion, based off of the flow, based off the brand behind it, based off certain incidents recently that have just dropped down the price, which we're not going to discuss here. But I think there's more upside value for me personally in Penn. Plus, I think they were included into the S&P 500, if I recall correctly. So there's a lot more potential here for Penn. So that's why I want to open a position here into Penn and then ride it back into this 130 area, into the summer, into the fall, into next spring. I love long-term investing. So these kind of things, like I love seeing these opportunities here. And I love when you got like someone like a Dave Portnoy behind a company that can really rally it. That's why a lot of the value you see behind Tesla is because of an Elon Musk. A lot of the value that was behind Apple was Steve Jobs. So there's a lot that goes on there. So quickly, I'm going to just go through the chat, find a few tickers, and then I'll jump into more stocks that I want to talk about myself. So Naresh is saying, hi, Ryan Mara. Hey, Naresh, how you doing? Do me a favor. If you guys are watching via YouTube, can you do me a solid? Please smash the like button. We'd like to get our likes up in these videos. I want to make sure that we do some decent numbers in this channel. And with these videos, we haven't been here for a while, so do me a solid, smash the like button. So Mara is interesting. I was testing a bit here, drawing. So I'm going to need a new indicator here. Bollinger Bands. We've discussed these previously on the show. They're very interesting. They give you the upper, mid, and low. I'm just going to adjust it to what I'm used to, the color that I'm used to, which is purple. I use Weeble for a lot of my charting, which is essentially, it's a free charting tool that you can kind of use, and it gives you a lot of the charting. But the cool thing here is you have TradeView built into the Benzinga Pro tool, so it kind of helps you. So the midline here, and again, I did a huge video. I just Googled Ryan Rozbiani, or just Ryan Mara, and I did a huge extensive video on analyzing this stock. This was expected. This dip, I was expecting this dip based off of the movement that Mara had last week. So last Friday, we saw a dip. We saw initial dips coming into this stock last week, and Friday was essentially a kind of wilder day where we saw a big 7% dip, which these were unwarranted dips. Bitcoin wasn't going down. It was essentially Coinbase was happening. A lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. FUD was in the market. So a lot of people were worried, hey, what is going on? What are we doing? What's the deal here? So you saw this drop. So I just basic stock analysis. I pulled up my moving averages. So the upper and lower of this Bollinger Band is usually where the stock tends to bounce. And I went much deeper in the video if you want to go watch that. And then you have the midline here, which is parallel to the 21 moving average. They're all right on top of each other, which is good. That's cool. That means that we've essentially had this line of support, which you can see here. 21 moving average up until essentially February, which all the craziness happened, was the support line. And then it was the 50 moving average, which was then broken now. And now we're down here at the bottom of the Bollinger Band where it's sort of bouncing. It's bouncing off the bottom of the Bollinger Band. Hopefully we're expecting a bounce, and then we'll see it start to retrace back up. A lot of people are asking me, hey, Bitcoin's at 55,000. There was a point where Bitcoin was $50,000 per coin, and then Mara was $50 a share. What the heck happened? What's going on? Well, it's really, really hard for me to understand what was going on there, but I sat down and kind of did a lot of analyzation on what's going on, and I realized Bitcoin's been super volatile. Bitcoin's a very, very volatile asset, whether we like it or not. I love Bitcoin. 6% to 7% of all my assets are in pure Bitcoin, and about 15 to 20% of all my assets are in Bitcoin and Bitcoin-related stocks. So that's just my transparency with you here on the show. So I'm a big bull on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin being very volatile means that Bitcoin-related stocks will also be very volatile as well, even more volatile than what Bitcoin is. And a stock like Mara, which is technically still a low-float stock of less than 100 million float, 95 million float, it's a low-float stock, will move massively. It's a stock that will move fairly quickly and jump up and down fairly quickly based on movement. So you need to keep that in mind with these stocks. Now, it's got a high risk, high reward. That's the other parallel of it. So if you go into this with me personally, I've discussed this many times on the channel. This is a 2022 play for me. I got into this stock last summer. I've been kind of riding it out, and there's been a ton of opportunities for people to enter this stock. All these bottoms, just turning on your Bollinger Bands will tell you exactly really good points of the stock where you are, where you can kind of jump in. Yes, you can break through Bollinger Bands. Just keep that in mind. There's a lot that's going on with this stock, and the volatility is the reason why it's not moving parallel one-to-one. At a certain point, they realigned again. That was when Bitcoin was consolidating for that 45-day time period in February. They realigned again, which was very, very interesting. And then Bitcoin started getting wild and jumping up and down. And we saw what happened over the weekend, where the hash rate kind of dropped and the Bitcoin price dropped quickly. So no, Tom, we do not want to discuss that. And there's a lot that's been kind of going on with this asset. And personally, I'm still very bullish. This is what you need to remember about assets like this, stocks of these companies. If you're trading a stock, you would have probably cut this stock by now, because hopefully your stop loss would have kicked in at 5%, 7%, 10%, 15%, 20%, whatever your risk tolerance is there and your stop loss is set up, it would have kicked in and kind of cut you out of the position. That's fair. It's a trade. That's how these trades work. Now, if you're investing, that means you've spent a good amount of time reading into these companies and understanding what's going on in the plan of this company. Nothing has changed about Mara's plan. Heck, the plan has gotten better and better every single month. We're expecting press towards the end of this month, early next month, about what happened in April. They're going to give us their numbers. The CEO has been very transparent. He was on an interview on this program with Luke during Power Hour. Fantastic interview. Go check it out. The CEO is confident. The CEO turned his restricted shares. Let me show you this real quick. I don't want to spend the whole time talking about Mara. That's not the point of this show. But the CEO turned a lot of his restricted shares into restricted shares. Restricted shares, by the way, are awarded for free. Restricted shares are usually awarded for free. This is one big thing: free, no payment, zero. He took his restricted shares, which was 454,000, about 455,000 restricted shares. He sold them took some profits on that, which was smart. They have to. This is their bonuses. These guys worked their butts off. They deserve some money. And then he came back and he bought about 340,000 shares at market price of 48.2. So this guy is technically bag holding along with most of the other people that are in this stock that are quote unquote bag holding. It's not bag holding, it's investing. Get out of that mindset of calling an investment a bag. An investment is an asset that you buy. It's a piece of coal you buy, you plant it in the ground, you apply pressure to it with the stock market, with the movements up and down, and you hopefully want to pull out a diamond. If you're investing, that's how it kind of operates. You've done enough due diligence where you can kind of buy the stock, go into it with a plan for 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, 24 months, and then come out of that ready to go and ready to operate and see where the next steps are for your stock. So you need to keep that in mind as you're going into it. Nothing has changed about the company. It's just the stock price that's changed, and you can kind of take it from there. So I'm going to jump into another question here from the chat. Tom is asking, Tom hit me with a really funny comment, so I have to cover his stock. SPC. SPC is an interesting one. It's weird. You would think that SPACs, after they've merged, they would no longer be affected by the SPAC mania and the SPAC effect, but they're being marred. And unfortunately, Chamath has been the face of this SPAC attacks on SPACs or SPAC spankings, which is weird and unfortunate, but that's just how it is. And it was really bad. To retail investors took this really badly. I need to make sure how I phrase this. Retail investors didn't take too kindly. That's a better way to say it. Now, if we were editing, we'd splice all that out, but we're live, so we don't care. Didn't take too kindly to the fact that Chamath sold a lot of his shares in SPCE. So a lot of people ask me, hey, how do I see if an insider buys or sells a SPAC? So here we go. We can go to the SEC website. You can type in which SPAC you want to see. SPCE, for example, SPAC, any stock that you want to see. You go SPCE. You come down here. So I'm really, really zoomed in. And these Form 4s are buys and sells. So for example, this is Virgin Investment. You can see that they've disposed of a lot of shares. Wow, that's a lot of shares. They've been disposing of a lot of shares. So the stock price will not reflect too kindly to that. Now, what's a faster way that I can see these without having to click all of them? You can click Insider Trading Reports right here. And you can see that, for example, it breaks it down. So Richard Branson is this person. So Richard Branson sold a lot of his shares. We saw that. Moses sold quite a few amount of shares here. Moses didn't sell much. I think Moses just really wanted to get a new TV or a new car. And he sold off a few shares. Chamath, Chamath sold a lot of shares. And I get it. He posted he was dealing with a lot. He lost $2 billion. He needed to recoup some funds. That's fair. This is how these things work. He lost money and he wanted to recoup some funds here. And these guys get these shares for cheap when they enter, just like us. Just like us, we all have the opportunity to buy into any SPAC at $10 a share. Now, the risk there is, what will the SPAC target be? That's how it works. For example, SSPK, I bought at $10 a share. I got lucky. They're merging with Weedmaps. Boom, stock is up 50%, 60% now, and I'm happy. I'm chilling. Sometimes you get a target like ROCC. Unfortunately, they're merging with a target that's not very sexy to the SPAC market, so it will stagnate and stay around that $10 mark. So the risk reward for SPACs is a lot safer and better for retail investors. And that's why you see a lot of big names are not too happy with that. But Chamath sold. So SPCE was affected by this dramatically. And if we pull up the chart, we can see it. Again, for those who are just joining us now, welcome. We're reviewing the SPCE chart. Tom asked a quick question about it. So you can see here, this was affected by everything. This was a stock that was loved by the Cathie Wood Fund, the ARK Fund. At a certain point, it was also in SpaceX. I'm sorry, not SpaceX. Excuse me, ARKX. I always get ARKX and SpaceX confused. And it's been sort of selling off, and it came down to a low in March 5th of 23.94, recuperated a little bit, and then you had, unfortunately, Richard Branson selling, which affected the stock price even more, and it kind of broke. If you look here, remember we discussed earlier that you can break through the bottom of a Bollinger Band? Right here, you see you broke through the bottom of the Bollinger Band, but you bounced back up. So this is an unfortunate one. This was essentially yesterday. It was oversold at 25 RSI. So under 30 RSI is considered oversold. And you got the bounce here. The same thing happened in Skills. It was oversold and got a bounce. Personally, I'm not too crazy about SPC long-term as an investor. As a trader, it looks like a good opportunity to get in. There's so much more institutional money in there besides Richard Branson and Chamath Palihapitiya or ARK that have been keeping this SPAC or stock now from going lower. So I'm not too crazy about this one. I'll be totally honest with you. I'm not too crazy. And also, I'm not too crazy about the business model. Long-term investing wise, not crazy about it. Taking it on a trade or maybe trading some call options. If you were trading premiums, had you bought yesterday, You could have probably sold for a decent chunk today. It's up 6%. Yesterday it was up yesterday was down 6%. So yeah, you would have probably, if you day traded some of your kind of your call options here, it would have been better for you on this one rather than trading commons, because the commons relative to other specs are quite expensive. But yeah, short term, I think this will be, I agree with Billionaire Bill 7 from Periscope. We got people on Periscope watching. That's awesome. It's a good trade short term, but I mean, it's not a high conviction trade for me. So I'll tell you that. But the algorithms will like it because the RSI is oversold, and you'll see some algorithms just turn their variables to go to oversold stocks. So Tom, I hope that helps. NNDM coming in from my buddy Rumor. Rumor, how you doing, brother? Rumor is a fan favorite and a host favorite viewer. So I want you guys to take a look here. I want you folks to take a look here. Look at the MACD. We got a tiny reversal happening here on the MACD. So small, poquito reversal. But this was one of those that was essentially three hairs short of being oversold. And then we got the awesome news about the acquisition of DeepCube. I think it was DeepCube or something like that, the deep learning company, which is essentially an artificial learning company. And a lot of people, I don't get it, don't really understand what's going on there. It's a fantastic acquisition, in my opinion. First of all, it only cost them $40 million of their $1.5 billion in the balance sheet in cash, and then $30 million of it is in stocks. I believe that's how the deal breakdown. It's a 40-30 deal. So 40 is either stocks, and then 30 is cash, or vice versa. So I can look here and kind of tell you that. Here we go. Corporate statement. It should be in their F6. So F6s are the same things as 8Ks. 6Ks are the same thing as 8Ks, but for international companies, these guys are an international Israeli company for tech. They're 3D printing company. Okay, this one's a little bit reading these forms can be annoying, so that's why you kind of rely on the better news. So I'm not going to go into the short report that came out on it was complete garbage. I'm sorry. I will be doing a video going over that short report and tearing it apart one by one. Here we go. 40 million cash and 30 million ADS, which are American Direct stock. So because course, deep learning leader or DeepCube is also an Israeli company. So I think it's a fantastic deal. And this isn't their only acquisition. I'll be diving deeper into the YouTube video that I do. If you go to ryanstocks.com, the link to my YouTube is there. So ryanstocks.com, and you can subscribe, and I'll be doing a video on this. But for technical analysis purposes, let's take a look at it as regular traders. So we're at the bottom of the Bollinger Band. I'm going to turn off Bollinger Bands for just 1 second so we can get a better look at here. And there we go. So much more beautiful. That's why I like the triplet moving averages here, the 221 and the 50. 200 has been support, 200 thankfully held. Acquisition news came in, and it kind of helped stabilize the stock and keep it above the 200 moving average, which is fantastic in my opinion. And there's a lot that can be done with this stock, and there's a lot of positives here. Well, for one, Kathy Wood loves this stock. So I know a lot of people might say, ARK Schmark, why are we so hype about the ARK Invest? Why is everyone so gung-ho? Well, this is the thing. There's the team of 30 brilliant, smart, highly advanced, highly trained, highly experienced analysts that are going out there and kind of discussing this company and analyzing this company and what's going on with the company. So folks that are much smarter than you and I, or maybe not smarter than you, I don't know who's watching, but much smarter than I, who are out there and doing their best to kind of give back and kind of analyze these companies to see if they're a fit. And ARK Invest, the investment thesis of how they invest in companies is, hey, we want to look for a company that will essentially double or triple in the next 2 to 5 to 7 years down the pike. And this is essentially a penny stock. This is a $110 stock. It's essentially a penny stock. It's just got a super massive freaking float, which is why it keeps the price down. So if you look here, the float's not even shown. Let me look up ARK's float for you. Again, float is the number of outstanding shares. ARK, I'm Googling the word float, NNDM float. Go to FinViz real quick. Give me the float. These numbers here are usually never accurate. Yeah, there's no way. That number is 1,000,000,000% wrong. But that's okay. So you will see a lot that'll be going here. But let's go back into the technical analysis. Long term, I'm investing in this company. Again, I promise you, if I bring up a stock, I will let you know if I'm invested in it or not. I got yelled at by someone, viewer, that was like, "Hey, why are you pumping your own stocks?" I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm just being 1,000% transparent with you folks about what I'm doing and how I'm operating and what stocks I'm in." So we got the nice little reversal on the MACD. You can barely see you got a nice bullish divergence here with the RSI pointing upward, ready to fly up. I wanted to overtake the 21 moving average. That's a very bullish sign to me if it does, which is around $7.95, which would be nice to see that. I'd really, really like to see them overtake it, close above that for 2 to 3 consecutive trading days, and then go for the 50 moving average, which essentially should be somewhere around here, which will give it around $10. I want it, and I see it probably going to about $10. So now I'm going to pull in a new tool that I've been kind of experimenting with here. Where's my Fibonacci extension tool? Again, I'm learning how to use this tool on this platform. It's a little bit different than the one I'm used to, but the Fibonacci extension, yeah, there's a lot of colors here, man. Okay, I need you to deselect and take me back to the cross. There we go. Okay, cool. So the Fibonacci extension tool is telling me that, hey, we could probably go back to the $8. There's a 23% chance that we'll go to $7.83, which we saw today. Which we saw that today just based off of this. No, we didn't see that today, but we'll get there. I think we can get there tomorrow. And then it's telling me that there's a 38% chance that we'll go to $8.64 and a 50% chance that we'll go to $9.30. So these things are being built into there, and you can kind of use these tools to take trades. Now, again, this is a little bit different than the Fibonacci extension tool that I'm used to using. It's not very parallel to what I have, but I will get better at this tool and come back for the next stream and kind of show you guys how to more confidently use it with TradeView. But it's a tool that I really like. So I'm confident on this stock long term. I'm confident on this stock short term, and I'm confident that you folks need to smash the like button because we got 140 people watching and only 36 likes. Do me a favor, smash the like button. We're here. We're family. Olive Garden. Okay, don't sue me, bro. I hope we don't get sued for that one. All right. Let's see what else do we got coming into the chat. Let me see those stock tickers coming in. Fly them in here. I want to talk about them. CIG, Tavo PPM. I hope you smash the like button, man. If you didn't, this feed can just turn off, boom, in 1 second. So do me a solid, smash the like button. Yeah, Tom is saying this is a pure, talking about NNDM, saying it's purely a good trade, but not an investment. I don't know. To me, it's an investment. I've invested into it. I think long term that this stock could be decent, and I think long term it could do fine. So I'm confident on it in long-term investments. Here we go. Energy company of Minas Gerais. Sorry, we got barcoding there. So let me see what these guys do. Brazilian power company that generates, transmits, and distributes electricity. As one of the largest power companies in Brazil, the firm operates across Brazilian state and Chile. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Big energy company. All right, cool. Let's see. So these guys won't benefit from the Biden infrastructure bill because they're in Brazil. So let's see. So they had a gap here in the charts, which you can see here between 233 and 229. So that gap was essentially filled yesterday, which is good. Congratulations. You guys filled your gap upward. Let me turn on my Bollinger Bands for a second. So see here, we're touching the top of the Bollinger Band. We're not overextended by any means. So I think we can break through the top of the Bollinger Band here. There's a good chance we could break through the top of the Bollinger Band. There's not much volatility because the bands are touching, essentially close to each other. When the bands are close to each other, that means reduced volatility. From my understanding, if I remember correctly. I studied these so long ago. But this is a stock with a lot of potential. It's an energy stock. It's a penny stock. I mean, but your upside here, again, your top was essentially at $2.98 here at $2.36. Can it find its way back up there? I think it could. It just needs like a big volume day like here. See, on this day, it had 131 million volume. On regular days like today, it had a 7 million volume. So today, the volume was very, very low. But it was flat, so it didn't do too much. And then after hours, it's going down a bit. So it's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. This is an interesting company. Are there any catalysts coming up? Which one is this? This is CIG. Stock CIG is what we're talking about here from the chat. Energy company of Minas Gerais. I can't pronounce that. I'm sorry. It's a utility company. I'm seeing if there's any news coming out about it. Block trade bid. So like someone bid at $2.06. Wow, big bid. That's a big bid right there. So someone was expecting it to come down that low on Friday, which it didn't. So, or the bid filled. We don't know yet. That might be why the stock jumped, because that was a huge bid. That's an 861,000 bids. That's a big bid. So yeah, I'd keep my eye on this one. It's interesting. If you're in it, take profits on the way up. If not, keep your eye on it. See if it breaks through the top of the Bollinger Band or if it sustains that. And yeah, and yes, so Sung is saying NNDM's shares are restricted for 3 years. Yes, they are. They've got a nice lock-in for 3 years. They can't sell everything in one shot within 3 years. Someone's asking about pins. I saw someone say pins or pin. I'm just going to go to pins, which is Pinterest. I want to talk about it in large cap for a second. I like these I like large caps. Let's go to Pinterest. Pinterest is not having a fun time. They had a big 10% drop, essentially, then a 3%, and then another 3%, essentially a 16% drop. Not good. I ripped through the 21 and the 50 MA. Okay. All right. Not good. And it sort of retraced back to where they were in March. Not exactly, but it retraced back to where they were in March. And it's kind of struggling to find its footing. And of course, just like most other stocks today, it bounced back. They've got earnings coming up, which is weird. Usually you see a run up into earnings, especially for a company like Pinterest. I'd imagine a run up into earnings, but I want to see what happened. Here it is. Let's see. So it looks like somebody sold some shares. So let's go back to here for a second. Pins. I can't open it there because it would open a new window, and I'm not sharing that window with you guys. So I want to make sure that here on 416, there we go. There it is. This is why the stock dropped. You had sell-offs. You had big sell-offs here. A lot of sell-offs happened here across the board on the 14th by Sharp Evan, who is the director and the co-founder and the chief design creator, which is not a good sign. This is a lot of shares. Again, relative to what we saw with Chamath and Sir Richard Branson, not too much, but quite a sell-off. And again, for a stock that's got a 544 million float to be affected this much by some insider sell-offs, which I imagine is the reason. But here we go. There's another story. Pinterest shares are trading lower. Cautious commentary from Cleveland Research last week. All right, so it looks like maybe there was a short report or something from Cleveland Research, or something came out from Cleveland Research. But I'd look more into it. Let's see. Let's see. Let's turn on my Bollinger Bands. All right, so you broke through the mid, so it's very parallel to what happened with Mara. Again, it makes no sense, right? You can't compare pins to Mara, two different industries. But you see, it broke through this, so it has the potential to keep going lower. So today could have been a flop or fluke. Part of me still telling me this might be a bull trap, but frankly, I don't care. I didn't buy anything today. I did all my buying on dips. So I think that this could come down to the bottom of the Bollinger Band, which is around 64, which would be a big drop for this stock to just drop this hard. I think if I can, I always lose it. There it is. First time successfully finding the rectangle tool. So again, you'd be right here. So I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to see how it operates. But the next few days, I'll come back to it. I'll come back to it in another day. But if you're not in it, I wouldn't touch it. If you're in it and you're up, maybe take profits and re-enter lower. But unless they smash earnings and do very well, I don't know if it could do good. But Netflix had very, very bad earnings yesterday, and they reduced their guidance and their numbers. I think Disney Plus is what's really killing. Man, that's an ugly gap. I think Disney Plus is what's killing Netflix. Disney's just got this reservoir of content that they're just putting out, and they're like, all right, we're going to put this out anyway. Let's put it on Disney Plus too. And it was perfectly timed with COVID. Hey, Disney Plus is here, and we've got shows coming out, and they've got their back-to-back Marvel shows, which will keep you on the platform for essentially a year more. And they've got everything coming out. Yeah, Lee Pilgrim saying no more Netflix and chill. You got to think of something else with Disney in there. It's plus, and okay, I'm not even going to go there. We're going to keep this PG-13. So this is a big gap down here. So this could be a big buying opportunity for anyone who's ever wanted to get into Netflix. But to me, this is not a good sign for Netflix long term. I've been on the record saying this. I don't like Netflix long term. I don't own any Netflix, and I don't ever plan to buy any Netflix. Their burn rate is high. They operate on pure debt. It's not good. Yeah, rumors saying this too. HBO Max is fired too. I agree. HBO Max is putting out these movies. They've got the Snyder Cut came out, King Kong versus Godzilla, and they're just putting these movies out. Meanwhile, Netflix is oversaturated with content. There's too much going on Netflix. That's the biggest problem. Is there's people that go on Netflix and you're just scrolling for the 2 hours, and then bedtime, gotta go, can't watch anything. So you just got to make sure. So Hein is saying OCGN is ripping. Hein, I really hope you're telling the truth, man. I'm just joking. Let's go see OCGN. Boom, OCGN is ripping. Let's take it to the 5-minute chart. So what's going on? OCGN is trading higher after the company announced that its COVID-19 co-development partner BHAP COVID vaccine 78% effective after the second dose, showed 100% effective efficiency against severe COVID-19. So this is cool. So I saw some news on this earlier too. It's very effective on regular COVID, very effective on other strains. And it's OCGN is doing very, very well. One thing that I would just warn you here with OCGN, if you look at Pfizer's chart, this could parallel a buy the rumor, sell the news. So everyone's waiting for OCGN to become a U.S. approved, FDA approved COVID vaccine because Johnson Johnson's out. Johnson Johnson's out, and so we need someone to fill that shoes. And Johnson Johnson, it feels like it's going to take a while. And OCGN, they got approval in Mexico, I believe. They've got approval in a few places to use their vaccine. OCGN is trading higher after efficiency, again, 100% efficiency. So we'll have to see. So I imagine they'll eventually go to the FDA and you'll see a big bump in the stock there. And then you'll see a big sell-off after they get approved because they'll probably get approved if these efficiency ratings are true. And I love it that so many companies said that they're going to make COVID vaccines. HTBX was one of the first COVID vaccine stock plays that I did a long time ago. They were like, hey, we're going to make a COVID vaccine by July. Never happened. So many plays. OCGN, I'm very proud of you. I'm very happy, and I commend you for what you guys have done and created. Very, very awesome. Someone said skills, New York State of Mind. We talked about skills, but you're saying it's ripping. So let's take a look here. Up 0.48%, bro. It was up 30%. Oh, there we go. 1%. All right, I'll give it to you. We're going to 17. Go to 17. So again, we discussed skills and gambling stocks earlier. If you want to scrub forward, hit the like button before you scrub forward and then go and check that out. We discussed extensively why I'm so bullish on the gambling market. Essentially, we have a lot of debt that we have to pay off somehow. Let's talk about NEO. Let's talk about NEO. I want to talk about NEO, and then I want to talk about Tesla because I'm selfish and I love Tesla, and I also love NEO. So conversely selfish, and then I'm going to bring in the third stooge in the EV market game, which is CCIV, and then I want to talk to you guys about Toyota. So we got a nice little thesis to kind of sort of take us into the end of the show. So let's go. NEO. Earnings are coming up in 7 days. We're seeing a small run up into earnings here, which is good. No, I'm sorry. I'm on the 5-minute chart. I got so excited. I was like, oh, NEO's killing it. NEO's dancing on a knife right here. NEO's dancing on a 200 moving average. MACD wants to go up, but MACD's volume's been flat. Take a look at this here. Volume's been flat. Volume's been flat for a long time. And it's reflected, man. These guys were reflected. They're essentially a car company, but they're also a tech company. That's a lot of people don't remember is all these cars. It's all tech. EV, the engine, all that stuff is the easy part. The tech is the hard part. The self-driving, the LiDAR, all this other stuff. What worries me about NEO is I don't think they're going to have good earnings. I'll be honest with you. I don't think they're going to smash earnings like the way that we expect or want them to. Last earnings, they did good, and then people freaked out because there was too much demand and not enough supply because of the shortage within the chip market. The chips aren't enough. There's not enough chips, and all these cars require microchips. Hewen is saying Covax covers all 4 mutations covered today. So I think Covaxin is he's discussing is the OCGN COVID vaccine, and Philippines and Mexico is where it was approved. And Gary, congratulations on buying OCGN. Again, don't forget to take profits on the way up. Not a financial advisor. All this for education, not purposes only. You guys know this by now. But NEO is interesting. If NEO comes in and surprises us, we will see a big gap up. If they come in and they break our hearts, let me show you what's going to happen. So let's find our support levels here. I'm going to minimize that so I can get a better view. I'm going to start dropping support level horizontal lines across here. It won't be perfect because it's hard to catch it, and you got a gap down here that will wreck us if we go that low. I'm dropping support lines here of where I think we could end up things get ugly. That's our current support line right there at 33.91. So again, please plus or minus 10-15 cents because I'm eyeballing here. So we got our support lines here. We got support lines dropped. Again, you saw how easy it was to find support lines. For those of you who are new to trading, go find the lowest points in a certain time frame period. So here I did lowest time frame period in the past month or a month and a half right there. 33.91. Then I came back a little bit farther and dropped another support line. So you can drop support lines fairly easy, fairly quickly, and you can kind of build support. But if you look here, former support is now becoming resistance here. Take a look at here. This used to be support. Now it's resistance. That's not a good sign. You want it to be the opposite. You want former resistance to become support. So that's not a good sign there. It's retraced. It's retraced back all the way to where it was in December and essentially come all the way back. We're back to November levels, which is heartbreaking. It's sad. It's sad to see this. NEO is a fantastic company. They've got a lot of support from China and what's going on there with their EV movement. I think the US and China will be the 2 big hubs of EV, and then Europe will later follow. But I think if we break this 200 moving average, first we will drop really quickly. We'll just gap down. I think if earnings are bad and guidance is low into the next quarter because of chips or anything, they come out and tell you that we've got 1 billion pre-orders. If they say we don't have enough chips to supply these 1 billion pre-orders, boom, we're going to gap down to 31.55 will be the first stop I think we land on. I think either 30 if we're lucky. If we're very lucky, we'll fall to 33.91, but I don't think we'll be that lucky. I think we'll drop down to 31.55. And if we're really ugly, and if they come out and say, hey, the car numbers have been really bad and we can't bring any cars out and things are going to get ugly, we'll drop all the way down to 25. We'll drop all the way down to 25. And that's just how I see it happen, just because we've seen ugly earnings. We've seen how these earnings play out. We can see how vengeful the market can be to you when earnings are ugly, and it will drop. So just cover your butts. Set stop losses if earnings are coming out after market close, so some of your brokers won't even run your stop loss. So you better be glued to your Benzinga Pro or glued to a Twitter account that'll report it. I'll report it Thursday. So it's happening Thursday after market close. We won't be live at that time. We do after hours at 5, so I'll be here to cover that. But please stay glued to, if you're in that position and you're trading it, stay glued. If you're investing long term, it might be a good time to, might be a good opportunity to buy some shares. Maybe we'll be surprised. I think that if earnings are great, we can either come to 42. So let's do the bull case. We just did the bear case. Let's do the bull case. If earnings are really good, we can run up to 42. It'll give us guidance to run to 42. Now, will it gap up that quickly? I don't think so. I think it'll be a slow burn, slow churn up, and then we'll slowly overtake and make our way to 46, and then slowly to 50, 51, 50 over time. And that's if earnings are really good, news is really good. JP Morgan comes out and gives them another wild price target. Let's go to Tesla next, just because I want to show you folks Tesla, and then I'll go to, I know a lot of people love CCIB, so I'm going to talk about that too. I love CCIB. By the way, again, in terms of full disclosure, I own a position in all 3 of these EV companies. Again, I'm playing bull case, bear case for you as always. We've got, oh baby, yes, let's go. I love Tesla earnings. They're just fun. It creates either opportunity or it creates nice profits. Tesla earnings are also happening in 4 days from now after market close on Monday. So we'll see Tesla earnings come in 4 days. Let's run the same scenario. Let's run the same exact scenario. Let's find our support levels. So again, we got support level. I'm just going to set the support level here because that's a weaker-ish support. I'll drop one there too. Why not? And then come down here. We got support level here. Sort of support level there. And down here. All right. So these are scary numbers we're looking at right now, right, folks? We got there's not much support that's you can set a support level there too, to be fair. We can drop a support level there too. Why am I? Oh, you gotta click it, man. There we go. That was my inner producer to my inner self saying, hey, you gotta click it, man. All right. There we go. All right. If earnings are bad, we know car deliveries were great. In Q1, we saw that we got over the 180,000 car, or 180 million or whatever. No, I'm sorry, 180,000 car delivery number that they'd said. Let me just quickly Google it. Tesla car delivery numbers. Q4 production. It's not Q4. I need Q1. Just want to make sure. Q4, there we go. Q1 2021 car delivery production was 180. Deliveries were 184, which is great. I think the market was expecting about 170, 160, something around there, where they beat expectations. They opened up higher the following trade day. That's good. That's a good sign for Q1, and we're going to have Q1 earnings. So that's good. That's a good omen that things should go well. But again, what's everyone looking at? Everyone is looking into, hey, what is going on next quarter? How are you doing with chips? Tesla, we haven't heard about your chips. What's going on with your chips? Are you buying dips? What's going on? Are you keeping the Bitcoin? Are you selling the Bitcoin? Are you buying more Bitcoin? We'll have to see that. Maybe they buy more Bitcoin. That'll be really interesting. All right, bear case, what's going to happen? We got one more support level here that I completely didn't see. So again, bad earnings, but not too bad earnings. We can come down and drop to 667. Boom. Right down to 667. If things get really ugly, really ugly. Again, you could also, there's another support level here at around 700. You can come down to 700, but you can fall down to 667. That can happen. If earnings are really ugly and Tesla comes out and says, hey, chips are not enough, we're gonna get slaughtered. we said X amount of 880,000 or 850,000 cars. It's only going to be 500,000 cars. We don't have enough chips. We're sorry. We'll jump down to 586. It'll gap down. Tesla moves. Tesla moves fast, man. People underestimate how fast Tesla moves and how things can get. So let me just delete all those. But if Tesla has good earnings, which I expect it to have, Doge. We'll talk about Doge. I promise you, we'll talk about Doge. I want to talk about Doge, and I want to talk about Safe Moon, and then I'm going to teach you guys something. We got resistance. We've had a massive resistance here that we just keep hitting. Again, there's these. I think these are false. I was about to say something that would get us demonetized. A flag that is not accurate. There's a word for that. These two, false flag is the word. I don't want you guys to think I'm saying something else. These two are. I don't think these are accurate spikes in the chart. No, definitely not accurate spikes in the chart. But so again, if we have really good earnings, we could possibly see Tesla at 800 again, which would be very good. I'd love that. As a shareholder, I'd like that. As someone who loves Tesla and Elon Musk's thesis and everything behind it, I'd love to see that. I'd love them to come out and have really good numbers. We'll see 800. If they smash earnings, they smash and clobber earnings, we could possibly go to 820. See his resistance level here, 820 would be the next one. So we can see those levels kind of play out, and it can get really good. And Tesla, when they have good earnings, they can get really beautiful and jump up. We saw it last time. Last Tesla earnings, what was that? I want to map it to the dates. Tesla releases fourth quarter and full 2020 year on January 27th. So if we go to January 27th, dun, 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 dun. So it looks like the day of, it was a minus 2% day, but then it dropped. But their earnings were great. So I don't get, a lot of people don't like the fact that there's a chunk of their profitability comes from tax, like returns and car incentives that people get. I personally, I don't care. Money's money in my book, but some people didn't like that, so it dropped down. But again, people bought the dip, quote unquote, and the stock was essentially at 850. But previous to that, the stock essentially came and sort of went to 900 into the run up into earnings on the 25th. So options players can have a lot of fun with this stock, but this is also a stock that's burned a lot of options players. So be careful. Last one in our three stooges of EV vehicles is CCIV, the ugly duckling. Yet the most, is it? Yeah, it's the best looking car out of the all three if you think about it. The luxury brand, the expensive guy, the Spec on the block, the one that everyone, either you love it or you hate it, but there's no in between. And she wants to reverse, wants to go back up. Had a nice dip today that I took advantage of at under 18. I think it was pre-market. It was during the day too. It was under 18 for a little bit, and then it kind of went back up and started jumping back up, just like all the other stocks. We got this gap here that maybe will fill 2 to 3 to 5 years down the line. We'll probably get back to this area. Just remember, it took the stock market 5 years to realize Tesla and get to where Tesla is. I would say it'll take the stock market 1 to 2 years to realize the power of CCIV and Lucid and the tech behind it. There's a learning curve with these things, and we'll get there. But I like this one. I like all three. I think that all three are good long term. This is my personal opinion. All right, so let's see what's going on. Let's close. I promised the guy Doge. Let's go to Doge. Let's talk Doge, and I want to talk to you guys about these big events. Everyone talks about Doge Day, Cannabis Day, Sundial Day, or what was the other one? There's another one everyone was talking about for a while. We're going to Clover short squeeze or Rocket short squeeze. Some of these pan out. Some of these pan out beautifully, fantastic, over the moon, right? Literally, we're going to the moon, right? And some of them don't. Unfortunately, there's a buy the rumor, sell the news. So yesterday we saw a big drop in Doge. Doge went from 39 cents to 29 cents. And of course, it's recovering today. Thankfully, it's slowly recovering for those that went in big. So I know some people went in big with this one. But it's recovering well today, 7%, which is fantastic. Doge is one of those coins, those altcoins, that I'm not worried about. It's available to the masses via Robinhood. People will go and buy the dip. People have accessibility to it. Robinhood's easy to sign up. Robinhood is free to use. There's no fee, and they'll do it. You can't get Doge on Coinbase or Gemini or the big ones. So it's harder. I think Webull lets you even do Doge now. So you got it. It's available to the masses. But then there's something SafeMoon. Safe Moon was the one everyone was like, hey, Safe Moon's the next Doge. We're gonna rock and roll with Safe Moon. Let's get in there, and we're all gonna make billions. And people made a lot of money into the run up for Safe Moon. Credit to Safe Moon, they did very, very well. They did very again. There's too many zeros here, but they did very, very well into their run up, which is great. Congratulations, fantastic. Oh, I got trade. Thank God. I hate that setup where you have to highlight it and it go. That's why I don't use Thinkorswim. I guess I shot myself in the foot. I didn't want to load, but that's okay. So credit to Safe Moon. It has had its run up. It peaked. It came to its run up and peaked on 420. It looks like Doge was left in the dust, and Safe Moon went to the literal moon. But the thing that bothers me about this one is again, Solar saying meme pumping. I'm not pumping it. I'm trying to discuss what's going on here with these. I'm not advocating for. I don't own any of these either one. I just want to share what can go wrong here. You can have a day where it drops this significantly. So if you're playing a meme stock, treat it like a meme stock and put a meme amount of money in there. Very, very small if you want something fun, maybe $10, $20, $50, $100, something that you'll imagine you're going to the roulette table and you're just going, oh, cool, I won. 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, cool. I'm going to go get, at least there you get a free drink or something. But please be careful with these. There's a lot of altcoins that came and went during 2017, 2018, even 2019. There's a lot of altcoins out there still that have been marred. You can go to their charts. They look like the inverse of this. You'll see the big spike here, and then they've never recovered. So be safe out there with Safe Moon. Be safe out there with Doge, with Bitcoin, with Ethereum, all of them. Be safe out there. There's a lot that goes on with these assets and with these cryptos that can change. They're very, very, very volatile. So please play it smart again. I'm not advocating for any of them or saying not to or hating on any of them. I'm just being 100% transparent with you and kind of showing you how I would operate them if I were you. Thomas is asking for SOS. Sure, Thomas, let's do SOS. So SOS, just like all the other crypto stocks, is being affected by the crypto sell-off. It broke this support line. So we drew this support line. I don't know when we drew it, but we drew a support line which it broke. And it's sort of fighting its way back up. I'm not too crazy about SOS just because I've been through this journey of a Bitcoin mining company starting up and building their assets, building their inventory, and kind of getting to where they need to be. So I don't want to be along for the ride for SOS. If I was new to Bitcoin mining stocks and I wanted a Bitcoin mining stock, I'd go into Riot or Mara and go with one of those. And now that they're cheap, and ride those up. Producer AB, we're out of time, aren't we?
Yes, sir, we are, unfortunately. But we'll be back for more after hours. I don't know, not tomorrow, but next week.
Sure.
We do have Money Mitch here real quick. Well, what's up, Money Mitch?
What up, my man Ryan? What's going on, man? Dude?
I like the suit, man. I like the new show too, man. What's going on?
Hey, man, just wanted to tell you and your fans, if they want to come and check out me opening maybe potentially some NFT lives. So I know that I know that you're looking at those NFT. I got my hand on a couple of those tops. So I'm going to open them live if we get to enough likes. So I'm trying to transfer over some fans. So if you guys want to watch
watch Money Mitch, man. Money Mitch is family.
Me out. And I'll tell you, it's not only NFTs that I got, Ryan. We're going to do an interview with Bet's CEO. We're going to talk about some gambling stocks.
We were just talking about Bet's. Perfect transition right there.
Perfect. Hey, I'm going to talk to the CEO right next, guys. So definitely stick with me, guys. We're going to be jumping over to Money Mitch. But Ryan, I hope to have you a part of the show one day, man.
I would love it, man. I would love nothing more.
What about Aaron Bai?
We'll be watching.
Oh, Aaron Bai in the back. Bye. Hey, man. Well, we'll see you guys over. Go ahead and wrap up. We'll start on over that. Have a good time, guys.
All right, y'all. All right. Like always, I'm going to drop Ryan's Twitter in the chat if you want to follow, Ryan.
I actually made a really quick URL for them so that they can kind of find everything. If you just go to ryanstocks.com, it'll forward you to like a page where you can see all my links. So ryanstocks.com.
Ryan Stocks. Oh, wow. It worked.
Yeah, I made your job a little bit easier there.
There you go. You hit that flow code link in there, and you got all of Ryan's links.
There you go, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like if you haven't, and please go check out Money Mitch. The show is fantastic. And thank you, as always, Producer AB, for all your hard work, man.
Of course.